Hello, Spooklings.
I'm Jason,
And I'm Kathy.
and we're the hosts of the weekly podcast, All Hallows Eve Podcast.
We are a husband and wife duo with a passion for anything spooky, macabre, and true crime, sprinkled with our own twist of comedy.
We explore topics such as the history of Halloween, the Butcher of Plainfield, Hocus Pocus 2, urban legends, superstitions, and more.
So come join us as we go down the rabbit hole that is All Hallows Eve Podcast.
Listen and follow us at allhallowsevepodcast.com or your favorite podcast provider.
Stay spooky, my friends.
Hey there, curiosity connoisseurs. Are you intrigued by all things strange, weird, and unusual, but too embarrassed to talk with your friends and family about it?
Well, we're your family now.
Join me, chronically curious Katie,
And me, combat veteran Chris, as we don our tinfoil hats and question everything.
from crazy mysteries, out-of-this-world conspiracies, and the unbelievable happenings all around us.
Let's try to stay sane as we laugh and explore together through our podcast, Stop Thinking with Your Butt.
Wherever you like to listen.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Films and Fermentation. This is our 6th season premiere. That's right, 6 seasons, starting with episode 104, The Future of Star Wars. That's right, we are... Like, you fuckers don't tell me about anything beforehand. Just, like, drop it on me.
I'm sorry, did we ruin your concentration?
Yeah, because I have a hard enough time following the script I already pre-wrote. I need you guys throwing curveballs at me.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Welcome to... All right, Grogu. Welcome to Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
Hi, Mike.
Jesus Christ, Mike, what are you doing? We're 3 friends who apparently forgot what the fuck we were doing after 1 week off.
Well, the button didn't go. Damn it.
Usually we just talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. On this episode, Jesus. On this episode, we celebrate the greatest of all holidays, Star Wars Day. Because as we are recording this episode, it is May 4th. The episode is dropping on May 8th, but it is May 4th when we record it. This year's Star Wars special, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the future of the franchise, from the animated series to the live action series to the video games to the new films and everything in between. There were a lot of announcements that were made recently about Star Wars, so we're going to be getting into all of those. May the 4th be with you.
I hear people are saying something different nowadays
About
May the 4th.
what's that?
They're saying, this is the May.
This is the May.
This is the May.
This is the May.
And they are including many days in May because they're looking at the Empire Day and all the anniversaries from when the movies launched. So, hey, I'm good with celebrating Star Wars the entire month of May.
No, I'm good with that too. But anyway, gentlemen, may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you, too.
May the 4th with you. Can
We
you guys
all
give me a
sound like
second?
we have left.
Yeah. What's up, Mike?
Adrian's trying to get a hold of me.
Figures. I don't want to accept cookies. I mean, I will always accept
Except
cookies.
cookies.
But, you know.
I'm gonna keep this rolling just to see what's happening here. I'm not pausing.
No, she wanted to call and let me know she's on her way home. She wasn't thinking we were recording.
That's a text. Things that could be mentioned in an email. Sorry, Adrian, but just saying.
Anyway, back to the show. Don't forget to drop us an email, filmsandfermentation@gmail.com, or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. You can follow us on Patreon and support the show. And hey, you want to help us celebrate this 6th season premiere? Why not buy some of our merch?
Please, buy our merch.
Merchandising, where the real money in the movie is made.
So this is Revenge of the 6th season.
Yes, Revenge of
Nice.
the Sixth. You can find our merchandise at teespring.com at the Films Fermented storefront. Gentlemen, it's been 2 weeks since I asked you this question.
The
Mike,
hell is
the
that?
hell are you
Mike.
doing, man? Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. See the things you're making me do? I forgot to read our sponsor ad.
Read our sponsor ad.
This show is brought to you by Buzzsprout. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners. The team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. We changed the Buzzsprout recently, and it's been a game changer for us. New analytics and features and tools have helped us grow our audience. You can do the same as well.
Downloads.
Over 500 downloads now. Buzzsprout gets your show listed in every major podcast platform. If you're looking for a great podcast platform to use, check out Buzzsprout. Go to buzzsprout.com, and while you're there, let them know that Films and Fermentation sent you. So it's been 2 weeks since I asked this question, gentlemen. What are we drinking? So Kevin says he won the drink tonight, so we're going to let him go last.
Thank you.
So I was in a rush because I had a doctor's appointment right before the show. So when I got home, I just grabbed a can, and I figured, why not go with a little Sith Red here and get myself a Bombshell Raspberry Hard Cider, the red lightsaber of drinks.
I went with a one from the formerly known as Left Nut Brewing Company, now known as Liquidation Brewing Company, Sweet Magnolia. It is the Mango Golden Ale, 4.5 alcohol by volume. It's very nice. Here it is.
It's a shame that they had to change the name of the brewery from
Yeah.
Left Nut.
Yeah.
So don't
I'd
worry,
give
guys.
my left nut to see that brewery.
Don't worry. I did get us pint glasses that still says Left Nut Brewing Company.
I said I wanted to start a Right Nut Brewing Company, so it could have been like the Twix bars. So Kevin, go ahead and show us how you
Okay.
won the drinks tonight. You said
I
you
will
drove 2
tell you,
hours
I
for
will-
this drink.
I drove 2 hours. Well, it's a round trip, so maybe an hour, but it was right after work today. My wife had caught mention of this because we follow certain breweries on our social networks, and she had said, "Oh, look at this one from Second Sin." Now you guys know Second Sin's the one that had the "That's Your Big Boy," the Drake's Coffee Cake
Yes.
beer that I really, really enjoy. And she showed me a couple others, but she said, "This is what you need for tomorrow night's podcast." When she found out what it was, so
I've
tonight,
spoken.
gentlemen, from Second Sin, I am drinking a Obi-Wan Jabroni.
Kevin's beer is called Obi-Wan Jabroni.
It is May the 4th be with you, jabronis. For this auspicious occasion, we brew a new hazy IPA for you featuring Idaho 7 and Mosaic for a citrusy and melony beer with a full body. From Second Sin, let me see if I can get us an alcohol by volume. It should be somewhere on here. No, I'm missing it. I'm not seeing the ABV. Come on, guys, help me out here.
I do like the picture on the front. It's like
Isn't that great?
it's like Obi-Wan met Spicoli from Fast Times.
The question is, Kevin, when
Yes.
you drink it, do you sound like this?
Hello there.
I know that.
Hello there.
Mm.
It looks interesting.
All right, it's not bad. It is a hazy IPA. It's got a little bit of it's a little hoppy, but I'm digging it. I'm all right that I bought a 4-pack blindly, but no, we're good.
Sometimes you
Oh,
have to
man.
buy it for the name.
Sometimes you do.
sometimes.
I was just said
So-
I just came from my doctor's office, and the nurse there told me that one of the drug reps came into them today dressed as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I was like, I would buy whatever drugs that man was selling.
That doesn't sound good.
Hello there.
Hello there. It's a trap.
Crap. Michael, has anything happened in history this week?
This day in film history. In 1944, MGM releases the film adaptation of Gaslight, featuring Charles Boyer, Ingrid Bergman, and 18-year-old Angela Lansbury in her first film debut.
Wow. And put that one on my list of classics to check out.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds interesting.
I saw when Angela Lansbury first film. I gotta put that on here.
Yeah, I didn't realize she started. Angela Lansbury was like always an old lady to me.
Yes.
You know.
Well, she was the Murder She Wrote, and that was, I mean, she was. What people don't know is that she was actually 25 when she started that show.
Actually, even before that, I saw she was in The Three Musketeers with what's the name of that guy? Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
She played the queen. And
So
she still looked kind of old then too.
She was in the Manchurian Candidate, the original one with Frank Sinatra.
She was the mother, wasn't she?
She was the mother, and she was only 7 years older than the actor that she was playing the mother for, but looked about 30 years older than him. It's like she's always just been like an older woman. That's why I want to see this now. I want to see if she actually looks 18 years old. What's that next fact you got there, Mike?
In 1999, The Mummy, film directed by Stephen Sommers, starring Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, and John Hannon, premieres in the U.S.
You have to correct that. Starring Oscar winner Brendan Fraser, Oscar winner Rachel Weisz, and whoever the hell that other guy is.
I think that's the brother.
That's the brother, John Hannon, English actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta make sure you got that Oscar winner in front of Brendan Fraser's name now.
That was such a good movie.
Is it you think it's correct to say that The Mummy from 1999 is the superior Mummy film?
Yeah, almost definitely.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
like
absolutely.
even like next to like the 1931
Yes, because I don't want to put it on the special effects and it's the story. It's the I like the action. It's the action and the story and the comedy, you know.
I think it's better because it's kind of like The Mummy meets Indiana Jones in a way.
Yeah,
it's more well-rounded
than
the original. Yes,
and it's definitely far superior to the one with Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah,
which supposed to be about a mummy, but ended up being about Tom Cruise. The next thing on here I added, which is more of a current event than a film and history thing. Carrie Fisher, who I did not realize did not have a star on the Walk of Fame yet, was posthumously given a star on the Walk of Fame today. Wow. So on May 4th, Star Wars Day, they laid the star down. In attendance were Mark Hamill, her daughter, Billy Piper, and R2D2 and C-3PO.
Billy Piper?
Not Billy Piper. Her last name is Piper. No, it's Billy Lord. I'm sorry. Billy Lord. Billy Piper is Rose Tyler.
I mean, it's okay if Billy Piper's there too. No one's going to complain.
No, I've been rewatching the David Tennant seasons in expectation of the new Doctor Who season. So, Rose Tyler in my mind. It is Billy Lord, I'm sorry, who is her daughter, and C-3PO and R2D2 were in attendance as well.
Nice.
So there are a lot of pictures on the Pinterest, or not Pinterest, on the Instagram today for that. And I also added this other one. It's the 5th anniversary of Avengers Infinity War, which means if Thanos actually snapped half the universe out of existence, those missing people would be returning this year. The blip, as they called it.
Yep.
Michael, you have a must-try beer or craft destination for us?
Craft destination from South Dakota.
I would have thought you would have talked about one of the ones from your trip recently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have one of those in.
All right, from South Dakota.
That's called Lost Cabin Beer Company. One of Rapid City's community hotspots, this popular destination brewery was opened in 2016. The two owners took their brewing hobby from the garage to to business, and in doing so, introduce the area to a wonderful beer and their passion for craft brewing culture. Both owners have a strong connection to the local area, particularly the nearby Black Mountains, and they incorporate that connection into Lost Cabin. Hiking, camping, mountain biking, and snowboarding with the friends and family is all in the theos of the brewery, which may explain the campfire logo. Stop by and try a small batch lager, ales, barrel-aged specials, and seasonals. There you go, boys. South Dakota has beer.
Shocking.
It's crazy considering there's only 50 people in that state.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be hammered all the time.
But 75 microbreweries.
50 people, 75 microbreweries. More microbreweries per capita. All right, that brings us to my favorite segment of the show. One that I hid
from nowadays.
One that I hid from these guys so they couldn't cheat. It's our synopsis according to Glip. Brought to you by Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android that will read the news to you in a natural human voice. Stop scrolling. Start listening. Go to newsly.me and give them the promo code ANDFERMENT to receive a 1-month premium free subscription. Newsly.me. All right, gentlemen, you ready for your synopsis?
Ready.
So this is the synopsis from the last show we did 2 weeks ago, the season 5 finale, which was Getting to Know Us Part 2, where we talked about the 5 movies that we would show if we wanted somebody to know a little bit more about our personality or like our movie-going pleasures and all that stuff.
Mhm.
This is what Glip had to say about that episode.
Uh-oh.
The discussion focused on the 5th season finale, water electronics, chat for the episode, The Bride of Frankenstein, Path of the Pellets, Mike is scared of cookies and cream, Kevin found the golden monkey, and Leo discovered Zima.
I'm scared of cookies and cream since when?
Really? That's the one you focused on, not the water electronics or Path of the Pellets?
I know what the water electronics was. That's right after I dropped my phone in the toilet. I knew where that was from.
I had no idea what that was.
No, I missed that too.
I mean, the first thing in the discussion of the 5th season finale was obvious because it was the 5th season finale. The water electronics you're saying is you were talking about dropping your phone in the toilet?
Yeah, I had to get we had to get a new phone, so we know.
Okay.
I don't remember that. Mm-mm.
Chat for the episode was I was talking about the program I'm going to use for when we do the live episode and how there's a chat function involved that we can all use and all that. So I think that's what that was. Bride of Frankenstein, we had mentioned the movie at some point during the broadcast. I don't know what Path of the Pellets is.
I have no idea.
That is one that just I have no idea. Path of the Pellets. Mike is scared of cookies and cream was when Kevin was talking about his cookies and cream beer.
Yes, I had my my pastry drink, I think.
Yeah, and Mike was like, it kind of scares me to think about cookies and cream and beer mixed together.
Yeah,
but
that's scary.
Glip missed the the beer part.
Yes.
Kevin found the golden monkey, which was the drink you were having that night.
Yep.
And I was talking about how I used to drink Killian's Red till I discovered Zima, and I was, being sarcastic, but Glip doesn't get sarcasm.
Apparently not.
But I thought that was a good one.
At least it talked about movies and alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting closer to figuring out who we are and what we talk about. Like it actually had our names this time.
You just
like
wait till AI. Yeah, once they introduce AI, it's going to be given rock solid.
Yeah, I'm gonna start using Chat GPT to do our synopses.
Mm-hmm.
That was our synopsis according to Glip.
It's a trap.
I have a hypothetical I threw out here for tonight, even though we have so much other shit to talk about. But I thought this was kind of a cool one. I saw this. I heard this on like another podcast. Somebody had asked. They got this question from one of their audience members, and I thought it was a cool question, so I wanted to pose it to you. If you give
the real thing up for putting our promos in.
No, that's after this.
Oh,
that's
right
right.
after. Oh.
right
That's it.
before the main
I
segment.
missed it. I'm
Boy,
sorry.
we are rusty.
We are.
We are rusty tonight.
I need to drink more.
If you could be present at any fictional sporting event, which would you choose? So you can't say like Remember the Titans or Friday Night Lights or anything like that because that's based on true stories. Fictional sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, the Quidditch World Cup.
The Quidditch World Cup. Wow, I did not expect that one. That's pretty funny.
It's a fictional sporting event.
It is, and I didn't even think of that. Like I was just thinking of fictional movies with like baseball and shit, but that's pretty funny.
I was thinking rollerball.
or a good pod race.
Are you talking rollerball from like the original one with James Caan, or
Yes.
the remake with
No,
Oz
Chris
from
Pine.
American Pie?
With Chris Pine. No, that's not Chris Pine. What's his
It's
name?
Chris
Klein. Chris
Klein. Yeah,
I was close.
I actually had one for each of the 4 major sports. So
Okay.
for baseball, I would like to be at the game where Ricky Vaughn strikes out Clu Hayward from the Yankees at the end of Major League. For football, I want to be at the last game of the season in the movie Necessary Roughness when the Texas State Armadillos get their first win of the season over the first place Texas team. Plus, I get to see Kathy Ireland kick the ball. Katie goes, that's not what you said the other night. For basketball, there's only one choice. Space Jam. And then for hockey, again, there was only one choice. Sudden Death with Jean-Claude Van Damme, where it's somehow he inexplicably ends up in goalie in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
No. There's a different one.
What's that?
For hockey. I would go with Lethal Weapon 3.
Okay.
Because she gets shot on the ice.
I have one. Now that I know the parameters of the game, I would like to see the LA Angels in the Naked Gun. I want to be there at that game. Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo.
Enrico Palazzo when Frank Drebin ends up as the umpire. That would be funny too. Although I would be cool with seeing a rollerball game with James Caan or the Quidditch World Cup. I think that would be kind of fun too. I did not think of that one. That's pretty good. Yeah, we could do the pod race in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I'm trying to think of another. Like, what's one from like Star Trek? Is there anything from Star Trek that would have been like a fictional sport?
No, they didn't do a lot of fictional sports in that one.
They had like gambling. I think they had
I want to be in the 10 Forward when Data plays that alien guy in the game with the fingers.
Chess, yeah, the tri-level chess.
As we're doing a Star Wars episode, and I'm talking about Star Trek.
Yeah.
So we will be back after a short break with our main segment, The Future of Star Wars.
Hello, everybody. Let me ask you a question. When you were a kid, did you ever wonder what teachers talked about in the teacher's lounge?
You probably didn't miss much. It's usually boring stuff like grading papers, lesson planning, and then figuring out the new train schedule.
Train schedule?
Well, I teach in the city.
But sometimes, at one of the not-so-cool tables in the back of the teacher's lounge, you might find us, the Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night.
My name is Mr. Richardson, and by day, Mr. McDonald, Mr. G, and I teach and inspire America's youth.
But by night, we debate, discuss, and argue about all things in the pop culture universe on our podcast.
We discuss all the biggest pop culture topics in the world, like Ozark, Stranger Things, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Marvel, Star Wars, Top Gun Maverick, The Old Man, Bridgerton, you name it, we'll probably discuss it.
You guys watch Bridgerton?
Yo, season 1 of Bridgerton was awesome. You don't know what you're missing. Since we are teachers, you will always get a ton of background information about our topics and original teacher-themed segments, like our pop culture morning announcements, building meetings, and post-observation reviews of shows and movies. Oh, and arguing. You'll get lots of disagreements and arguing, like way more than I'm comfortable with.
You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search for The Fandalorians, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night.
Then join us every Monday as we look into the current state of fandom and pop culture.
Hey, look, the bell's about to ring. We need to head to the buses. Hopefully, we'll see you guys soon.
Well, I mean, they're not going to see us because this is a podcast.
I know.
But they can't even see us when you think about it, so they won't see us either.
Oh my God, you know what I meant. It wasn't literal. Just ring the bell. Ring the bell.
The Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night. I hope you listen and subscribe to us soon.
I hate you guys.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Deb.
And we host a pretty fun podcast called Today We Laughed and Learned. You know, this is where we discuss all the things we should have learned, but, well, never did. And we have quite a few laughs along the way.
Today we laughed and learned with Chris and Deb.
We're curious about everything, experts on nothing.
Come find us wherever you get your podcasts.
There's the blue stuff.
There's the blue stuff. Do either of you guys need a break? Or are we good to go? Or
I'm good.
you're good? Okay.
Yes.
We are back from our short break. Before we get to the main segment, I want to let everybody know about a special announcement here. Next week, episode 105, we're going to be revisiting one of our favorite recurring topics, films that time forgot. And for that episode, we are going to have two very special guests, Jason and Kathy from the All Hallows Eve podcast. Will be joining us for episode 105 to talk to us about movies that time forgot. I'm looking forward to seeing what they chose. Because I told them they could either do a couples movie or choose one for each of them.
I felt bad that they lost their spot of the one.
I know.
They did.
Yeah, I feel for them though, because we've lost a couple of pods in the past as well.
Yeah, but not with guests.
But that one was
They
with
did-
guests. Yeah.
We did 6 hours and did 2 podcasts, and they lost theirs.
But I mean, they did get to do the one on Today We Laughed and Learned, which I listened to.
Yes.
That was pretty good.
That was good. Yep.
And I listened to All Hallows' new episode this week where they talked about Bella Guinness.
Yes.
And I messaged them on Good Pods afterwards, and I said, "You guys better watch out. I think Reagan is stepping up to steal the show from you." Their daughter now does a news segment on the show, and she is adorable.
Yeah.
So they will be on our show next week. Jason and Kathy of All Hallows Eve joining us for episode 105. So make sure you join us for that episode. For tonight, we're talking about the future of the Star Wars franchise, and I was curious to see what other people thought about this. So I put a poll on Twitter, and we got some responses to it. I wrote on Twitter, tonight we record our season 6 premiere. We're taking a look at the future of Star Wars. Are you excited about the future of this cosmic franchise, or has Disney ruined it for future generations? Give your answer below. And I gave them 4 choices. Give me more Star Wars. Too many choices.
Give me more.
So it's give me more Star Wars. Too many choices. Disney ruined it. Or what's Star Wars?
That would be my wife's answer. What's Star Wars?
20% picked what's Star Wars. And I think those peppers are fucking with us.
Oh, shit.
Another 20% said give me more Star Wars.
That's good.
And then 30% tie for first place between too many choices and Disney ruined it.
Really?
Yes.
I don't think they have that many choices going on right now as it is.
I think there is a lot of choices. I mean, and it's growing because we do have more shows coming out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's reached a point now where with certain shows, if you weren't watching other ones, like if you didn't watch The Mandalorian at all, and then you watch the Book of Boba Fett, you're going to wonder why episode 4 and 5 were Mandalorian season 2.5.
Well, it's all tied together, so.
Exactly. If you weren't watching the other show, then you're missing out on information.
But everybody's doing that nowadays. Even the network televisions, they got like 4 shows that all tie together.
Because like I've never watched, I haven't watched hardly any of the animated Star Wars shows, but I know enough about the characters and the lore, and I read, online a lot of shit that I can follow what's going on, even though I haven't seen some of them. Like I know who Ahsoka is, I know who Bo-Katan was, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to follow along. But that's also because I'm a nerd and I like to
still
read.
think you would love Rebels. I think you would really like Rebels.
Yeah, sure I will. I mean, I had to make the time to finish Andor for tonight's episode. It's hard to make time for things sometimes. So we're going to talk about the future of the Star Wars franchise. We're going to look at some of the animated series, the live action series, the video games, some of the recent Comic-Con announcements, and the expanded universe theory, which is actually my own theory.
Oh, are we having spoilers on this?
Spoiler alert, rated S for spoilers. If you have not seen The Mandalorian or Rebels or any of the Star Wars films, if you have been living under the sea for the last 45 years and have never heard of the word Star Wars before, you might want to watch it first.
Pause the podcast now.
Pause the podcast. Go watch.
Go to your couch.
I will even tell you this. You are allowed to watch it in chronological order or release order. It's up to you. Episodes 1 through 9.
Favor. Do release order.
Yeah, do release order. Episodes 1 through 9. Make sure you watch Rogue One. Make sure you watch Solo, a Star Wars story. Make sure you watch Rebels, Clone Wars. You can even watch the original anime Clone Wars if you'd like. That's on Disney Plus now. Watch Mandalorian. Watch the Book of Boba Fett. Watch Andor. Then you have to watch Ahsoka when that comes out. Then you have the Acolyte when that comes out. Then you have supposedly there's going to be a sequel now following Rey Skywalker, 15 years after the end of Rise of Skywalker. So watch all that shit first.
You forgot Jedi Tales.
Jedi Tales,
Kenobi.
Visions, Kenobi,
Bad Batch.
Bad Batch. Watch all of that first. Then unpause the podcast and listen to the main segment.
Oh, wait a minute. We got to pause the podcast because I got to finish watching Andor.
Okay. Hold on. Wait, let me pause. And we're back. What you think, Mike? Woo. All right. So I have a link here to an article. All the new and upcoming movies and TV shows on the horizon. So I figured we can use that as like a reference as we talk about these different things. This year alone.
Where's the link?
It's the title. It says main segment, Future of Star Wars. Click on that. And there's a link. So it says this year alone, today actually, they released Star Wars Visions Volume 2 and Young Jedi Adventures, which is a Disney Junior Star Wars production. Ahsoka Season 1 comes out in August 2023. Skeleton Crew Season 1 in 2023. And Andor Season 2 is scheduled for August 2024. Upcoming Star Wars movies, there's James Mangold Project, Dave Filoni Project. The Dave Filoni Project is supposedly going to be Mandalorian related. The James Mangold film is going to be about the first Jedi from like 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. So it's going to be like the very first.
That's not the Acolyte.
That's not the Acolyte. That's Sith related, I believe.
Okay.
The James Mangold movie is going to be like the very first Jedi ever. You know, like the history of the Jedi. And then the untitled Charmin Obaid Chinoy project. She is the director of what's going to be the upcoming Rey film. So it's going to follow the adventures of Rey 15 years after the events of the sequels, 7, 8, and 9. So those are upcoming movies. There's another Rian Johnson trilogy apparently on the way. They are in talks to do a production of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the greatest Star Wars video game ever made, which I am actually replaying again on my phone for like the 900th time. An untitled Taika Waititi project and an untitled Sean Levy project. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, I don't know what the Taika Waititi's doing.
Jawa.
His is gonna be all Jawas. Waititi. Sean Levy directed Free Guy and Deadpool. I don't know what he is going to be doing, so it's kind of cool to figure that out. You got Young Jedi Adventures coming out in May. You got Star Wars Visions, I said, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew. The Acolyte is 2024. Bad Batch Season 3 to be announced. The Mandalorian Season 4 to be announced. A Droid Story to be announced. And Lando. Apparently, what's his name? Donald Glover has agreed to come back to reprise his young Lando character. And it's going to be a series on Disney Plus. So that's something to definitely look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a little bit of the things that are upcoming on the schedule. So, gentlemen, I will leave it to you to talk about the animated shit because I've only watched Visions Season 1 and Tales of the Jedi Season 1. I have never watched the Clone Wars or Bad Batch or Rebels. Even though I know the characters and I know the story, I haven't really watched the shows.
I found that the Clone Wars closed a lot of the questions on how and why Anakin turned as fast as he did in the movies. I think a part of it had to do with Ahsoka's story, how the Order went against her and stuff. That's what I thought was the best part of that.
I thought those episodes were good, where they could take some of the the holes or the things that we had questions about and kind of fill in the gaps. But the one thing I didn't like about the Clone Wars was every episode was a fortune cookie. I mean, there was the little scroll in the front that says, sometimes the best enemies make the best friends, and it just goes, and then it plays. It's self-contained episode where it kind of like, here's the lesson learned, but the things with like the Inquisitors I really liked, and what was her name, the bald-headed Inquisitor, or
Asajj Ventress.
Yes, Asajj Ventress. And the seeds of doubt within the Jedi Order that Ahsoka, deals with, and what she comes across and things like that. And those were sprinkled throughout, which was enough to keep me going. It was just those few episodes where it's like, we are poor farmers and we don't want the Empire to be, or not the Empire, we don't want to get involved in your intergalactic war, and then just goes on from there. It's like,
But you have to think the Clone Wars also, I think, was the last thing that Lucas produced before he sold everything off to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he was still very heavy into the storytelling portion of that. And we know how much he loved the prequels. So
yeah. Who was the Hut the Hut that talked with the just like sometimes like a nasal
Wait,
Zero? Was it Zero? Zero the Hut.
Zero the Hut. Like
my name is Zero the Hut.
I didn't watch the shows, like I said, but I knew enough about that character to have to look it up to see what everybody was complaining about, and I'm like, why does this guy sound like Truman Capote? It's like the Truman Capote of Huts.
Yeah. Like, you just went and stole Jabba's kid. That's not what I asked you to do. It's like, oh my God.
And like I said, it was the last thing produced by George Lucas. This is the same man who created Jar Jar Binks. Zero.
I can fix it. Bring in Zero. Their kids are gonna love this one.
Zero the Hut.
Purple.
It almost sounds like a Mel Brooks spoof.
So, to go back to your fortune cookie part of it, you got to also understand it was made for kids. We had the fortune cookie stuff with G.I. Joe when we were kids. The more you know.
Sure. No, I get that.
Knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle. Go Joe.
So, I didn't hate that part as much, I guess, as you did. You're a teacher. You shouldn't hate that.
I don't know.
We'll talk about some of the newer ones like Bad Batch.
Bad Batch was great. Bad Batch I dug,
Bad Batch is a spinoff of Clone Wars.
It is, but I think this is kind of like with Bad Batch, what you're seeing is what happened after the war with the clones, because the stormtroopers are all, individuals, the clones had a purpose. Their purpose is gone. What happens? And I really like that about them, and
it
how
also
it follows that track.
It is also closing some of the questions with, what do you mean Palpatine is cloning himself? What? Huh? What?
Mhm.
In the new,
It's funny. I'm
that's
sorry, Mike.
a lot what they're talking about in this one is trying to get the cloning done.
The Clone Wars in the original trilogy was a flash in the pan. It was a statement. It was a mention of this thing that happened, but cloning was not a thing in the original trilogy. Do you know what I'm saying? And then
cloners are dead.
What's that?
I mean, he makes mention. He makes mention of it in
A New
the
Hope.
original film, but
Yeah.
I think even then, like nobody really knew what clones were.
Right.
It was just kind of like a cool thing to say. Oh, I heard he fought in the Clone Wars.
And I think where I'm going with this is just like, okay, and then when you bring that into the prequel, which you need to do because it's kind of continuity tying it in, and then it just kind of explodes into all the series that they pull out. It's like, well, okay, Bad Batch is going to be tied to it, but that's natural, but okay, well, now we're looking at The Mandalorian, and now we're looking at the sequels, and Snoke and Palpatine, and it's getting shoved into all these other projects when it was barely a consideration in the original trilogy. I think it's a default. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It could have been, but
I just feel like there's other stories that could be told that don't have to involve clones.
Well, you can't not involve clones
like Ray Skywalker.
No, I understand. It has to be with the Bad Batch. It had to be with the prequels. I get that. But I don't think it needed to be thrown into The Mandalorian necessarily. I mean, unless they're tying it into the sequel, but it didn't even need to be in the sequel.
Well, my thing about The Mandalorian is the fan theory with it. Is that the what's his name?
Is this distracting?
No.
Not if he doesn't look at you, it's not.
Yeah, I'm not looking at it. What was his name? Moff Gideon?
Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon.
They think that's a clone that died, not the real one.
I mean, you did see the whole batch of clones at the end there that they destroyed.
And they think, the one with the clean shaven one is the clone. The guy with the beard is out there. He's the real one.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because as we all know, clones don't ever have to shave. If you notice,
it's a problem with the cloning process.
Has a Van Dyke, and the one that they fought definitely had a goatee.
Yes,
yes, it's a setback of the cloning process that they are born without pubis.
It's not true because.
It's not true.
It's not true.
Mike's seen clone anatomy up close.
Well, they do.
If you look at Rebels, Cody definitely grew his beard out.
You see one clone dick, you've seen them all.
And then,
and that scene in Kenobi where they see
Rex,
the clone.
Rex grew his beard out, and then you see Rex in as a real person in Jedi.
Jedi.
You've never seen the picture of the old guy with the white beard that's on the planet with the guy? No, on Return of the Jedi. With the group of the rebels, there's a guy out there that's bald headed, has a white beard.
I must have missed that part of Return of the Jedi. I thought you were making reference to Kenobi, where Obi-Wan.
Oh, he sees the clone trooper on the ground asking for money.
Right. Yeah.
So the only animated features that I've actually watched were I saw season 1 of Visions, which was interesting because it was all about different animated styles to tell different stories. And I watched Tales of the Jedi, and my takeaway from that was, man, they fucking did Yaddle wrong.
Oh my God,
I like the backstory to Count Dooku, though.
Yeah,
Man, that
it did
fleshed
fill
out
in a
that
lot.
character.
It made him way more interesting, and
It
for like a
fleshed out that character a lot.
very brief moment, I agreed with Christopher Lloyd that Dooku was a visionary,
Mm-hmm.
and then he killed Yaddle, and I was like, "Fuck that old bastard." Is there anything else you want to say about any of the animated series? I mean, I don't know much about the ones that are coming up. I know
Well-
like the one is a children's show, the Young Jedi or whatever it's called.
Rebels was really good.
Rebels, yeah. So I haven't watched any of those
Yeah.
yet. I have to watch
And
this.
it seems like
Hey
Filoni's
guys, I
tying
want
a
to share
lot
my
of.
screen real quick.
What's that?
Let's share my screen real quick.
Okay. So we are looking at Mike's screen now. Oh, there he is.
Well, there he is.
Captain Rex in Return of the Jedi. I think that's pushing it. It's just a fucking old dude with a beard. I mean, that could be anybody. Just because he mildly resembles a cartoon character.
That's Santa Claus. Santa Claus.
So
I thought it was funny.
it sounds like the majority of the things that are coming out though in the next couple of years are live action.
Mhm.
Not so many animated things. So I think we can pop over to the second part of this, which is the live action series. So far, I've watched Mandalorian, which I really enjoyed. I even enjoyed the last season, which a lot of people have been shitting on recently.
Yeah, they
Oh,
weren't
I
too.
love the last season.
Mhm.
I liked it too. I enjoyed it. I think some of the complaints I heard about it is that because they commercialized Baby Yoda so much that they kind of like forced him into season 3. He wasn't really supposed to be in Dave Filoni's plan for season 3. He was supposed to stay with Luke.
Well, now we're gonna have a
But
we're
I'm
gonna
kind of
have
like,
a Jedi Mandalorian.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna say that Dave Filoni was pushed by the company to do it, maybe not. But I kind of feel like he and Favreau have enough say right now after the successes that they kind of do what they want. And it wasn't like Grogu didn't have a storyline in that season. He ends up getting officially adopted. He becomes Din Grogu at the end. And I like the IG-88
No.
droid that he gets to ride around in. I thought that was a creative way to give him some agency and make him able to kind of get around a little bit better and stuff like that. That was kind of fun. Yeah, and it gives him the ability to talk a little bit.
Right. And
yes,
I
yes,
did
yes.
like
No.
They revisited the flashbacks to what happened during the purge. Order 66.
You get a little bit of insight into the trauma that he had.
Right, and did a big thing for the guy that played Jar Jar Binks, like bringing him back in. And I know that he did a game show or something as the same Jedi character, but like this I think this was retro. He needed this because the guy was so shit on after the prequels. But getting back to like
Jar Jar Sith, he would have been great.
Yeah,
Darth Jar Jar.
I have heard, or this is theorized, I guess, is that they will find a way of tying like the Mandalorian into the production with Rey and the maybe reforming the Jedi Order, but Grogu's not really as Jedi as much as he is a Mandalorian, and going in that direction.
My theory with the Ahsoka series is that Ahsoka is going to work its way directly into season 4 of Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I feel like they're getting away from the returning to Mandalore and recreating the Mandalore Empire and all that stuff, and focusing more on Din and Grogu like themselves as just a duo again.
And that's going to pull.
There's also a theory out there that Din and Grogu may not even be in season 4.
That it was
the Mandalorian.
Go back to Bo-Katan.
Go back to Bo-Katan or do something like that because it's just the Mandalorian. It could be any Mandalorian they want to use.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I would like that. I like to see Din and Grogu again, personally. But they got a house and they're just sitting there, little house on Navarro.
Yeah. And it seems like the Ahsoka's going to go back to Rebels too, and tie in a lot of Rebels because you have.
Well, you know they're bringing Thrawn in because you've seen he's in the preview, he's in the trailer.
Right, and he was in Rebels towards the end, and
that means they're going to have to bring in what's his name too, the kid, the Jedi,
Ezra.
yeah.
Ezra.
Well,
They've already got the Mandalorian, the girl who was a Mandalorian. What was her name?
Sabine.
Sabine. Yeah, they
Sabine's
got
in it,
her.
yeah.
She's going to play a significant role.
Because at the end of Rebels, it was Sabine and Ahsoka going out looking for
Ezra and Thrawn because he had, pulled them into like a light speed thing.
So that's my theory for why it's going to delve into season 4 of The Mandalorian, because I feel like Thrawn will return. He'll be the new big threat, you know, and it could bring back in Din and Grogu. You could bring the other Mandalorians back in. You can tie it into like, you know, some of the Jedi shit that's happening too. I mean, I feel like it's all gonna come to head at some point anyway.
Right.
So to me, that's like Ahsoka is gonna kind of do like Book of Boba Fett did and kind of introduce us to some element of the next Mandalorian season. Like Boba Fett introduced us to the Darksaber, and how that comes into Mando's hands. So, what else we got? Obi-Wan. What do you guys think of the Kenobi series?
I liked it. I thought it was really well done.
Really good. I thought it did a lot for what was going on for Kenobi in not all those years, but for a little bit. I think they can do a second one and show more of what he was doing on there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were planning on it, but I haven't heard anything about it. I'm sure McGregor would come back if they asked him to. I like that they brought Liam Neeson back in at the end there too.
Oh, and Hayden Christensen.
You
know, and that was kind of his redemption too, because I mean, I like that it really showed his Vader's anger and passion towards finding and killing Kenobi. You know, and it to the point where it was causing the rift between him and Palpatine.
I love that scene where he knocks the mask off or part of the mask off, and you see Vader's real face and the mask, and it's switching between his voice and James Earl Jones's voice, and then together at some point. Just like that was so awesome. That was so creative. Great way of like showing that he's behind the mask right now. Yeah,
right.
That's almost as like the scene in the last season of the final season that came out later for Clone Wars, where Ahsoka actually had to face Vader.
And she knocks off the other side of his mask.
She knocks the other side of the mask off, yeah.
She knocks the right off, and Obi-Wan knocks the left side off, yeah. But it still was an awesome build up to an awesome ending. And I like I like the whole like introducing him to Luke when Luke is young, and he's the one that gives Luke the little toy that he's playing with, and then just having Qui-Gon Jinn show up at the end there was really awesome.
So we've all seen, I'm sure, the fan made revisioning of the battle on the Death Star from A New Hope, right?
With Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
With Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, the badass lightsaber duel.
Yeah.
I think that scene from Kenobi, the thing that was like, okay, we have to give something, you know. And they kind of put that in there with the rocks and I was like, yes, this is the lightsaber duel that we were waiting for, you know.
But it also wasn't as elaborate as the one they had in Revenge of the Sith, which goes to show you like all these years of not fighting with lightsabers, they got a little rusty.
Slows them down, yeah.
Slows them down. So like when he finally faces him for the last time, it's an old man who's hardly picked up the lightsaber in a while. Versus a guy in a suit where he can barely move.
Well, he had buried it, hadn't he? He had buried his lightsaber. I want to say, yeah.
So I mean, that was I really enjoyed the Kenobi show. So I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. I'm looking, I always look forward to Mandalorian. I don't think they're doing another Boba Fett season. From what I can tell, I haven't heard anything about it. I'm looking.
What's Skeleton Crew going to be about?
Skeleton Crew, from what I've seen online about it, it's something to do with like a crew of stormtroopers on a ship, and they're like kind of stuck there, and like they're it's like I don't know much about it, but I mean I know it has something to do with like a ship that's like lost and has just like the minimal amount of crew to like run it or something. So I don't know like how that's going to tie into everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about the Acolyte series because I know that that's going to have something to do with the Sith, and I think it has something to do with like Darth Bane and like the original Rule of Two and something like that. So it's going to be like a prequel type TV show.
It would actually be cool if they also brought in Darth Plagueis, or Plagueis the Wise.
Plagueis the Wise.
Don't know if he was actually a Darth Plagueis or not, but
he, according to the novel, it's Darth Plagueis. Yeah, there's a Darth Plagueis novel that shows the relationship between him and Palpatine when he takes him on as his apprentice and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's what it says about Skeleton Crew. The story of a group of kids about 10 years old from a tiny little planet who accidentally get lost in the Star Wars galaxy.
All right, I've already lost interest in that.
Story, well, it's brought to you by the director of Spider-Man: Homecoming. The story of the journey and finding the way home.
As soon as you said kids,
10-year-old stranded
only person announced as a cast so far.
As soon as you said kids stuck on a ship lost in the Star Wars galaxy, I immediately thought Ewoks Battle for Endor. Remember that TV show, the Ewoks TV show?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh God, that's the first thing about my head. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't think I can handle that.
Let's just see.
Now for the video games, this is an interesting one.
Hold on. I want to revisit one thing real quick. I know that this was shelved due to political reasons, but the Rangers of the New Republic.
Still shelved, I think I heard.
I was kind of hoping that they revisit that. I know they can't bring her back to it.
I had read something about them recasting the role, having a different actress play Cara Dune.
Okay.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I
think I would just like to see, some of the things that go on with the New Republic. That's all.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the things that's kind of cool about now that I finally finished watching Andor. Was getting to see a lot of like the background stuff.
Yeah.
There's in one episode you see that the guy sitting at the desk in like this like room with like 1 million cubicles in it, and I'm like, wow, even the Empire had a fucking corporate bureaucratic corporate job nobody wanted.
But they're large chasm too, because they have to have their large chasms.
Yes,
everything they
large chasms and a lot of cubicles. And there's this one guy sitting there going, "Somebody took my stapler."
I want to work in the mailroom. Yeah. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, wasn't there also supposed to be a Rogue Squadron?
Yes.
Series that was supposed
to
come
but I don't know where that's at either.
I don't know what happened to that one. There's a few shows that they were talking about that kind of got shelved a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The video games, we have the release of the newest Jedi Survivor.
Awesome, guys. Awesome.
Now, Mike, I know you said you got it. You started playing it.
I'm playing it now. It's awesome. It's the gameplay's just about the same as the last one. So BD1's still there. He's still cool as ever. I haven't got too far into it yet. So
still follows Cal Kestis, right? As the
Cal Kestis. It starts off sometime after the first game, and now he's working with Saw Gerrera.
Okay.
He starts off doing missions for Saw Gerrera, and then he got to get his ship fixed. So now he's on another planet.
Ooh. Speaking of Andor, and Mike, sorry to ruin this for you.
Go ahead.
I got really excited when I saw Forrest Whitaker walk into a room playing Saw Gerrera.
Mm-hmm.
Saw Gerrera is like in every freaking series now since Rogue One.
But this is also pre-Rogue One, so he doesn't have all the breathing shit on him yet.
Right. This was. I mean, this is like you got different factions of rebels, and he's the extremist faction, whereas Mon Mothma is really trying to be more of a organization kind of.
She's the political end.
Yeah, he was introduced in Rebels.
Mhm.
He's been in one of the last 2 episodes of Bad Batch lately. So
Yeah, so,
yeah,
like his is like the extreme, like violent faction, and then
yep.
Mon Mothma's in it, and you're seeing her like try to form this political rebellion.
Mhm.
Andor kind of gets thrown into things reluctantly and has to take up a mantle of a rebel. You have the Stellan Skarsgård character who is kind of like, I'm willing to sacrifice a few guys if it means
He's
for
the
the
deep
greater
spy,
good.
right?
Yeah. And it
What
was it was a really slow burn, but once you get to like the middle of the season, it gets pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially
All
the
right.
episodes where you get to see Andy Serkis as himself and not in CGI or costume.
Oh, and I'm not going. I don't really don't want to ruin this for Mike, but like, man, I just feel for Andy Serkis, that character in the show.
Yeah, it was a really good,
Mhm.
really good arc that he was involved in.
Yeah. This is
My
good too.
favorite video
this
game.
is better. I'm sorry.
Which one's that?
Pause.
Which one's that?
This is also from Second Sin. This is called Fill Up the Middle. It's a West Coast triple IPA. If you've been into a craft beer for a while, you're probably familiar with a particular triple IPA that is released around this time of year. If you've been to the brewery, you've probably met and fallen deeply in love with our co-owner, Phil. Fun fact, he has 2 siblings, and he is neither of the elder or the younger. He is the middle. Philip the Middle is our West Coast triple IPA brewed with abundance of Simcoe, Amarillo, Centennial, Citra, and Columbus for an intense and classic hoppy experience. It's good, though. Oh, it's good.
Mike, you got a new one?
I do. I got one from Yeehaw Brewing Company. The Hefe wheat beer is a Weizen, 4.9 alcohol ABV. Yeehaw Brewing is the sister company for Old Smoky. It's their beer.
Nice.
One. So here we go.
Awesome. I am still drinking the red lightsaber of ciders, Bombshell hard cider, raspberry. All right. I was saying my favorite Star Wars video game of all time was Knights of the Old Republic, which I still have a version of it on my cell phone that I still play every now and then. And it's one of the things that you're talking about doing a live action film for. So I'm like really excited about that. I would love to see that come to the screen. And then I was talking to you guys pre-show. My favorite moment in a Star Wars video game is from the PlayStation 2 Revenge of the Sith game. And the moment is at the very end. There is a moment where you can either play as Obi-Wan or as Anakin in the final lightsaber battle.
Really?
And if you play as Anakin and you defeat Obi-Wan, you actually are able to jump over him without getting your limbs cut off, and you stab him through the back and kill him. And then in the very next scene, he is greeted by the Emperor who is getting off his ship. The Emperor gives him his new red lightsaber, which he then proceeds to throw up in the air, catch, and kill the Emperor with. And then he turns to all the stormtroopers who are lined up next to the ship, and he goes, "It is my empire." And then it fades to black. And it was like, that was so fucking awesome. It's one of the greatest endings to a game.
Oh, my God.
It was the Revenge of the Sith alternate ending from the video game, a PlayStation 2 video game.
I'm going to have to look that up on and see
It's on
the
YouTube.
screencast. It's on YouTube?
Yeah, if you look up Revenge of the Sith video game alternate ending, it's on YouTube.
I will look that up.
It's really, really cool.
One of my favorite video games, speaking of the PS2 platform, was the Battlefront. I don't know. Did they do Battlefront and Battlefront 2 for the PlayStation 2? They did, didn't they?
I know they did it for
thought
3
Battlefront
and 4.
2 was PS3.
I know the first when Electronic Arts took over Battlefront, I was not keen on it. It was not that great to me, you know. And then they released Battlefront 2. It was a little bit better, but it was not as good as Battlefront for the PS2, where you could first person shoot, fly from, ship to ship, and it wasn't like you had to earn these ships. You had access to whatever was in the hangar bay at that time. If I was a rebel and I got onto an Imperial ship and was able to commandeer a TIE interceptor, that was it. That was what I was flying at the time. And I like that you could actually mount the guns. You could get into the gun barrels of the massive ships. So I'm on a Star Destroyer shooting the Star Destroyer guns at ships flying by. I mean, I remember, I thought that was pretty cool. And another game I enjoyed, which I was never able to own because I didn't have the Nintendo. Wasn't the GameCube, was it? No, Nintendo 64.
Oh, okay.
Was Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, which I thought I would really enjoy. My friend had it, and I tried to play it as often as I could. That was the story that took place between Hoth and Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Shadow of the Empire was actually a novel. It was one of the Timothy Zahn novels. It came between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So I wonder, was the game like based on that? I don't remember.
I don't know what. I think the novel might have been based on the game.
Okay, because I don't remember the game that much to even say that.
Oh yeah, no, it was really good. You got to do a lot of the things you wanted to do. Like you did participate in the Battle of Hoth, but then there was a whole thing. You interacted with Luke Skywalker. You interacted with Mara Jade. She was included in that, and you were a smuggler, somewhat similar to Han Solo, but this was kind of like, you were familiar with Han Solo, but you were not. Yeah.
See, I think you guys are missing the best games out there for Star Wars.
What's that?
And that's the Lego. It's the Lego Star Wars games.
Yes, I've heard. I've heard they were pretty good.
You play through all the movies. You get all the characters. You even get Mando and all them to play in it. All over the place. It's great.
So, in London recently, they had the Star Wars Celebration 2023, where they made some of the announcements for things that are upcoming, including 3 new Star Wars films, which I had talked about earlier. One is the James Mangold film, which is going to go back to the Dawn of the Jedi and is reportedly probably going to be called Dawn of the Jedi, because it's going to be set 25,000 years before everything else that happens in the Star Wars universe that we know about. Dave Filoni has a film that he's working on that's going to focus on the New Republic and be about the escalating war between the Imperial Remnant and the New Republic, and take place somewhere between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So I'm guessing that movie is going to tell us a little bit more about the rise of the First Order and what happens with the Emperor and his clones and where Snoke comes from and all that shit. So it'll give us some filler into where those characters came from in the new trilogy. Okay. And then there's going to be a new live action film, as I also said, with the return of Daisy Ridley as Rey. And it's going to take place somewhere around 15 years after Rise of Skywalker, and will feature Ridley as Rey as she tries to rebuild the new Jedi Order. It's going to follow that hero's journey model that all the original Star Wars films did. And there's even rumors that John Boyega may come back as Finn. He had in the past talked about how irritated and upset he was with Star Wars because with Kathleen Kennedy and Disney in particular, for kind of like writing off his character a little bit in that last film, not giving him as much to do. And
because he screwed up the whole second film with them giving him so much to do.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole sequel to the original trilogy was screwed up because they didn't have a plan for a trilogy sequel. J.J. Abrams rehashed the first movie, and then the second one just took a left turn, and then he tried to re-steer it back.
And lastly, and this is going to be disappointing, Obi-Wan Star Wars prequel trilogy star Ewan McGregor is very eager to make another season of Obi-Wan Kenobi for Disney Plus. But Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy explained in an interview to Variety magazine that while the Obi-Wan actor and the fans may want another season, it is not something that the studio is considering at this time.
I thought she was out anyway.
No, she's still in there as the president. They gave a lot more power to Filoni and Favreau in terms of like the Disney Plus stuff, like the series, but she's still in charge of the studio, the movie studio.
Okay.
But that's also why they're turning it over to people like Filoni to direct the films and stuff.
Yeah.
Tales of the Jedi is going to get a second season eventually.
Okay.
Filoni also shares some news at the end of the panel celebrating the 15th anniversary of the Clone Wars. He reveals that the Tales of the Jedi is going to have something more to do with filling in the gaps in those stories. And they just started shooting Andor Season 2, which will be coming out in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And on a related note, at the end of the Star Wars celebration, they released a trailer for Indiana Jones 5. Indiana Jones and what did you say, Kev, was the search for more pudding?
The search for more pudding. That was it. Yep.
Yeah.
And he finds a lightsaber.
They actually changed the title though. It's now called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
The tapioca of death.
Which makes me laugh because when I hear it and I think to myself, Pick of Destiny, which is the Tenacious D movie.
Jesus.
So the last thing I have on here is the expanded universe theory. You've heard me rant before about how I read 45 Star Wars novels that all followed Return of the Jedi that were known as the expanded universe. And then when they announced that they were making a 7, 8, and 9, I was like, yes, the Thrawn trilogy, finally.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decided to abandon the expanded universe that's now the Legacy universe or Legends universe. And they made their own new storyline with Rey and Finn and all those characters. I was a little pissed off. But
Little.
Yeah, I was a little pissed off. But my theory is now they're kind of trying to make up for that. I feel like with the bringing Thrawn in first in Rebels and now bringing him back for Mandalorian and for Ahsoka makes me think we might see some other characters start returning too from the expanded universe. So I wouldn't be surprised if we meet Mara Jade at some point. She might not be Skywalker's wife in the new version, but she might still be a character, maybe somebody in Rey's new Jedi school or something like that.
Right.
So my theory is we might see some more expanding universe characters start making an appearance. Like maybe some of the characters that were part of Luke's new Jedi Order in the books might be part of Rey's new Jedi Order.
You know.
So
what I would think would be cool would be if they bring in Cal Kestis.
Yeah, I have a feeling he might pop
bring
up.
in that kid from The Last Jedi who magically made the broom go into his hand.
Broom kid.
The broom kid.
I was excited to see in the last movie, and he didn't show up. Oh man, Mike, do you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening?
A beer trivia guy for you boys. California Common is a rather rare historical style fermented with Jaeger yeast, but at a warmer temperature. A number of brewers produce an amber beer along the coast of California in the gold rush times. Perhaps the best known example available now goes by the trademark name of Anchor Steam Beer.
All right.
They made up of steam, apparently.
So, speaking of drinks, what do we like about our drinks this evening?
It's beer.
The Obi-Wan Jabroni was okay, very clever. Just a little too hoppy for me. I think I like Philip the Middle a little bit more. It's got a smoother taste. It's a little less bitter.
I've had mine on the show before, the Apple Bombshell Raspberry Hard Cider from Warhorse Brewery in the Finger Lakes. It's one of my favorite breweries, one of my favorite drinks. It's always a good go-to, and it was a quick and easy go-to for me tonight since I didn't have a lot of time to prepare my drink.
Sweet Magnolia is a really nice smooth beer. If you like the mango flavor, you'll enjoy this. And the Hefe is it is a Hefe Weizen. You can taste it all the way through the wheat. Very, very nice.
All right. So thank you for joining us, everybody, tonight for our 6th season premiere, Revenge of the Sixth, episode 104, The Future of Star Wars. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Remember, you can email us at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. You can buy our merch at teespring.com or support the show by going to Patreon and becoming a Patreon member. Don't forget to stop by. Buy our merch. Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between Pickled and Fermented next week. On May 12th, we're going to be recording a new episode that will be being dropped on May 15th, Monday, May 15th. That episode 105, is Films That Time Forgot, one of our favorite recurring segments. And I want you guys to make sure you come listen to that episode so you can say hi to our friends Jason and Kathy from All Hallows Eve Podcast, who will be joining us for episode 105. We had a lot of fun on their show. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun with them on our show. Especially because I'm going to be talking about House of a Thousand Corpses again. Oops.
Oh.
I just spoiled the movie.
I was wondering, should we all pick like a
horror film?
Horror film that time for
No, I had 4 films. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to do, and I dwindled it down to 2. And I'm like debating between those 2, and I'm thinking of doing something for each one. So just in case I change my mind at the last minute, I'll have something to work with. Because I really don't know which one I want to do for the show. I have a couple I think they're pretty good ones in mind. So again, that's episode 105, Films of Time Forgot with Jason and Kathy from All Hallows Eve, which will be our next episode. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
And remember, may the 4th be with you always. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. See y'all later. I know, right? Yeah. I missed you guys.
I missed you too.
It's always weird when we take that little break because I'm getting so used to doing this now.
Yeah.
Adrian's like, Kevin lost his wedding ring. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Lost my wedding ring. Megan's cool with it. I mean, we're looking at others. I feel the surefire way to find it is to buy another one. That's going to be the way it happens. That's the way it always happens. Look what I found.
So you need a metal detector to go beep beep beep.
And I was telling Lee just before you got on, like I went to bed one night and I knew I was 90% sure I had it on. I woke up the next morning and it's gone. It's one of 2 things. It's, ghosts have taken it, which we are under the impression we have some ghosts in our house, or I ate it, in the middle of the night, and it has to pass through.
You do look like you put on like a carrot or 2, so.
Yes.
Mike made it funny.
He did. Give that boy a break, a little vacation, and he comes back a new man.
Dude, it feels like we haven't done this in like 6 weeks.
Good.
My wedding ring with all the freaking diamonds on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I took it off for a shower, put it on the back of the toilet. Didn't want to lose it down the toilet, so I put the lid down. It fell, hit the back, went under the
mess
as it's flushing. We call a plumber. I go to my office because we do stuff in sprinklers to have a camera that goes down the pipes.
Mhm.
Got that to go down the pipes, and we got a shop vac sucking that bitch out of the fucking sewer.
That's a 1 in a million shot, Mike.
Tell you, it has not
No,
come off since, unless I just take it off, do something, put it back on. If I'm at work, I have to take it off. It goes right to my wallet.
We have to show you the picture one day, Kev, of me and Mike holding his ring together. And
I would say, yeah. Well, next time we get in the house, we'll open the wedding book.
Oh, the wedding picture? Yeah.
we have no. So when Mike got married, we were taking the pictures before the wedding. Mike and I were in one of the back rooms of the church because I was the best man, and so the photographer was taking pictures of just me and Mike. And he goes, "All right, I'm going to try some different poses here." So, like, standing next to each other and all that stuff. And then he had us, Mike holding the ring, and I'm holding the ring with my fingers, and we're both looking at the ring, like facing each other. And I'm like, dude, is just me, or does this feel like wrong?
Ooh, precious.
Yeah, we're going, my precious. But I was like, it felt like he had the wrong people looking at the ring together for this wedding photo.
With this wing.
I steal you from Adrian.